If you've been trying to figure out how you are supposed to be getting real business results with AI and just ending up more confused than when you started, here's why. The advice out there is either a list of 47 tools that you're supposed to explore, or it's so vague it's useless. Nobody has time for that. So, in this video, I'm going to look at 5 things that suck up time in your business: meetings, sending emails, staying on top of industry trends, staying organized, and making PowerPoints. And for every single one, I'm going to give you a tool that you can easily drop in and start saving time right away. So, by the way, I'm Laura Zovelson, serial entrepreneur and former professor of entrepreneurship, and I have personally experienced every single time suck we're talking about today. And I personally use every single one of these tools. This is the low hanging fruit of AI implementation. So, let's get into it. Use case number one is meetings, and tool number one is an AI note taker that generates transcripts. So, look, if your business looks anything like mine, you're jumping on Zoom with people every day, either clients or leads or catching up with the people who refer you. So, every time you talk to people, you are generating a ton of information that could be useful for your business: decisions, conversations, the way people talk about pain points, but maybe most importantly, what the other person really wants from you, right? Not just action items, but what the real want is or what the real heart of the problem is. Your ability to diagnose that and act on that is actually a big part of what clients pay you for. But if you're in the meeting, there's no way you can be fully present and capture everything that's being said. And if you're trying to put it all together from your memory afterwards, a lot of stuff just gets lost, like the exact words a client used or the thing they said at minute 32 that turned out to be the whole point of the meeting, right? So the AI note taker captures all of this for you. Now, Zoom and Google Meet have this built in, and maybe you've already turned it on. But if you're only using the summary it generates, you are missing out on the hidden gold mine that's actually sitting in the raw transcript. And if you want that transcript, regardless of who initiated the meeting, so like if your client set up the meeting, so you can use a third party tool like Fathom or Granola, which is going to get you that transcript on your end. So here's the thing I want you to hold on to. The transcript is where the real value sits, not necessarily the summaries or the action items. They're super helpful, but I want to talk about how to extract value from the transcript. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. Because the second thing that sucks up a lot of time in our business is communicating back and forth when you're not in a meeting. So think about how much time you spend every day on emails and responding to people and following up on action items and writing proposals or putting together a pitch deck, right? What a time suck. So let's look at what really is taking the time there. So, like, just to send a follow up email and action items, you've got to review your meeting notes, you have to decide what's relevant, and then you have to write it. And if you do proposals, you've got to review all the meeting notes from the beginning of the relationship and then potentially do research, and then you have to write it. So that is a lot of context switching and taking in information and processing it and creating the structure of whatever it is you're working on and then finally writing. So our next tool is going to cut that time by at least 20 or 30%, if not more. It's Claude. Now, we're not just going to use it as fancy Google search. What we're going to do is take those transcripts from our AI note taker, so Zoom or Meet or Fathom or Granola, and we're going to drop it into Claude and optimize the hell out of all this communication. So you're going to upload that transcript and you're going to ask it to pull your action items, okay, if you don't have a Fathom or Granola, right? Then you're going to draft that follow up email. You're going to extract what the client said they needed in their words, not yours. And if you're a proposal person, you're going to be able to surface the objections that were kind of hiding in the conversation, the things that they said that you're going to need to address before they're going to be ready to say yes. That last one is worth slowing down on. So, most of the time, we write proposals based on what we think we heard in the meeting, right? Well, Claude is going to help you write proposals based on what the client actually said and the subtext. And it's not always the same thing, right? The difference between a proposal that just sounds like you were at the meeting and then a proposal that makes the client really feel like you were in their head. Like that alone is worth having Claude on this list. Now, there's a lot more you can do with Claude, and we'll get into that in other videos. But what I want you to know right now is that if you don't pay for any other tool on this list, you need to pay for the pro subscription to Claude. It's like 20 bucks a month. I'm not an affiliate for them or anything. I just really think it's that good and that important for your business. So let me just give you an example of the ROI on that. Okay. So 6 months ago, I uploaded 10 transcript scripts from different clients and different meetings. And I asked Claude, what are these people actually trying to achieve? What are their near-term needs? What are their aspirations? What's worrying them? And what came back were my clients' own words, like their goals and their frustrations and what they really wanted for their businesses. And I used that to build a new offer and to completely rewrite my website. So, not my words about what I do, but their words about what they needed. That's one afternoon of work, totally changed how I talk about my business and totally changed my deal flow. So the next time eater is staying up to date on your industry or on your clients or on your competitors or your clients' competitors, right? You need a way to stay current so you can tell your clients what they need to be paying attention to. So Claude and ChatGPT are great, but their models have cutoff dates. So for instance, Claude Opus 4.5, that training data cut off in August 2025. So you can ask any model to search the web, but real-time synthesis actually is not what the LLMs were optimized for. So if you're trying to use them for competitive research or trend watching, and you really want to trust those results, you might be working with stale information. So the next tool I recommend is Perplexity. Perplexity is a search engine, but it's built for what's happening right now. So it looks, it synthesizes, it cites its sources. This is a tool I use for competitive research, trend watching, raw material for my newsletter, stuff like that. So again, right now, I mentioned I was in the middle of revising my website. And one of the first things I did was ask Perplexity about website trends in 2026, what's working, what clients are expecting to see. And so in a few minutes, I had a synthesized answer with sources and actually screenshots that I could actually use to form a design brief, right? Now, Perplexity, it's got a free tier. Start there. Thing number four that hoovers up your time, staying organized and leveraging all that information that we all take in every day. And I don't know about you, but for me, that seems to just be getting more challenging, right? My desktop looks like a hurricane hit it. There's research reports and screenshots and PDFs, and I've got documents open of conversations I've had with AI, and I don't know where to put them. So before this next tool, I was always trying to track down stuff. Like I needed data for a presentation, like I wanted to put a quote in there with a percentage or something. And I had seen it somewhere, but I just couldn't find it, right? So my tool recommendation number four is Notebook LM. It's from Google. And it is completely free if you're already paying for Google Workspace. It's a lot like having a storage unit for when your brain is full, but the cool part is the tool itself can tell you everything that's in there, right? So you can feed it your notes, like just handwritten notes when something occurs to you, articles, videos, websites, PDFs, huge research reports, right? And then you can ask questions across all of it. And it's going to help you put all that information together. It's going to help you find connections. It's going to help you locate that resource that had the data point that would have taken me all day to look for. So let me tell you how I actually use it. I have a bunch of notebooks, but let me tell you about three. One is for a rebrand and pivot, right? So all of my research, all my AI conversations about my new direction, every product idea I've explored over the last couple months, that's all in one notebook. Then I've got another one for storing the download from workshops or courses and everything I've learned about growing a YouTube channel. And then finally, I've got one that's called the Frameworks Research Project, which is early research for a book I'm working on. So I can put all of these notes and ideas and just all different kinds of pieces of information in there and that ask AI, hey, do I have a source that says something about that? Or I can ask it, go find me similar sources that I may not have located on my own. It's super cool. So, for client work specifically, you could try building one notebook per engagement or one notebook per client, right? You would load it with your proposal, your meeting transcripts, your stakeholder bios, links to their websites, links to their competitor websites. And then you could ask it things like, what has this client said about their budget constraints across all of our meetings? Or how does their positioning compare to their two main competitors, right? That's institutional memory. And as a solo operator or as a small business, you've never had that before. So if you haven't tried Notebook LM, highly, highly recommend that one. Okay, and the fifth huge business time suck we're going to talk about today, slide decks. Oh my God. Do you end up making slides as often as I do? Like workshops and pitch decks and media kits and client presentations? Look, if you love design, you can just skip this section. You don't need it. But if formatting takes you 3 times longer than the thinking behind it, you are spending non billable hours on something a tool can handle in minutes. So, my number 5 recommendation is Gamma. So, you take the outline and you drop it in there, like literally from your doc, you just copy and paste it in there, and Gamma formats the whole thing and it finds the image and it puts the whole thing together for you. So I will say, honesty. So this one has the highest learning curve of any tool I've mentioned today. And it's not going to be perfect on the first try. But it's also, the learning curve's not a technical learning curve. It's like learning Canva or Asana. It has a lot of features. And so to kind of get peak performance out of it, you have to put a little time in. So here's how I discovered it. I was putting together a workshop. I knew the topic cold. I'd been on vacation the week before. I was short on time and I heard Gamma was good for this, so I tried it. First attempt, not a home run. And I actually made a whole video about that experience if you're trying to decide whether or not it might help you. But personally, I see enough potential time savings with that to add it to this list, even though I don't personally have it up and running at 100% yet. So they've got a free tier too. You got nothing to lose. So the next time you're staring down a slide deck, try Gamma. So, look, this is how I really think we should all be thinking about AI right now. What are the friction points in my business? What are the time sucks that I might be able to solve with AI? And then what's the right tool that's going to either save me time or make me money? So, not one of these tools has a big tech setup. And 4 out of the 5 of them, you're probably already paying for, or you can test out the free version. And if you're not a technical person and you're still wondering whether you need to wade in deeper with AI, this is the video you want to watch next.